Jeopardy players. The category is organizations. Let's see your clue. In the United States and its territories, this nonprofit, whose roots trace to 1980, fulfills a word in its name every 34 minutes. 30 seconds. Good luck. Did you come up with this one? It was a toughie. What is Make-A-Wish? Yes, the Make-A-Wish Foundation grants a child's wish almost twice an hour.
What is a wish?
Captain, we're ready to dive.
It's adventure in seeing the unknown. It's imagination
We're ready to surface.
in coming up for air. But really, deep down, a wish is hope. Please, give now to grant wishes today.
One. All right. Wasn't that a great first panel, everyone? Well, thank you all for sticking around and joining us here for our next panel. And this panel is the great and wonderful gaming panel where we talk Star Wars games and all of our great memories. I want to give a shout out to the Make-A-Wish Foundation. This is the charity that we are still raising money for. So if you see that QR code, if you go to their website, we'd really appreciate any and all donations. But with that out of the way, I'd like to introduce you to some very special guests of mine. I'd like to introduce you to Mr. Jared Silvius.
Hello.
And Mr. Kevin Belling.
Hi.
All right. How are you two doing this fine morning?
Doing pretty good. How are you?
Doing excellent. Can't complain. It's 8 o'clock my time here, given that I'm in the mountains, but you know, it's still a beautiful morning, I have to say. All right. So with that out of the way, why don't we get started? So both of you have been brought on since you have an expertise on Star Wars video games somewhat. And I'm going to test that expertise. So what we're going to be doing, we're going to play a little game. There's no prize at the end, unfortunately, but I want to test your guys' knowledge. So what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to show you a series of screenshots, and I want you all to identify the video game in question. All right? So.
Sounds good.
All right. So let me go ahead and get my thing set up. Aha. All right. I need to make sure that all right. Can everybody see the slide?
Yep.
All right.
Yep.
All right. So, and there's no right or wrong answers, and I will each of you will provide me an answer as to what it is. Oh, and for those who are watching, you are more than welcome to participate in the chat as well. We'd love to see the answers that you've got for these games. All right, let's start with some easy ones. Can you identify what this game is?
Pretty easily, yeah.
All right. You want to tell the viewers what this is?
Force Unleashed, the first game.
Kevin, do you have a different answer?
No, same answer.
All right. This is indeed The Force Unleashed. This was released back in 2007 or 2008, I want to say. And it was released on PS3, Xbox 360, Nintendo Wii. And I think that's it, unless if it came out for PC. All right.
Mm-hmm.
Let's go ahead and move on to the next one. Who can tell me what this is?
Fallen Order.
Any other answers?
Nope.
Indeed, Fallen Order. Released 2019 for PC, PS4, Xbox One, and has been re-released with an update for Xbox Series X and PS5 compatibility. All right, let's see what we got next. This should be an easy one.
Ooh, I know that one. Republic Commando.
Are we in agreement?
Yep.
Indeed, Republic Commando, released in 2005 for PC and the original Xbox, has since been re-released for all major consoles. So if you're ever interested in playing this game, now is the time. It's pretty hard. It's pretty hard to avoid this game, if you ask me. All right, this one's a little bit more obscure. I wonder if I know this. It's a bit grainy, but I wonder if you guys can identify what this is.
Star Wars for the original Nintendo.
Ah, but is it?
I was gonna say Super Star Wars.
Not quite.
No.
Kevin, you were closer, but the thing is that this one was never released stateside.
Hmm.
So this is Star Wars for the original Famicom back in Japan. And if you ever play this game, it's kind of interesting because you fight Darth Vader a couple times, but every time you fight him, he turns into a giant animal. So he'll turn into like a giant scorpion or a giant shark. It's kind of weird. It looks fun, but don't expect, being totally accurate to the first movie. All right. This one's a bit more recent. Wonder if you guys can identify what this is. This one's a bit more obscure.
No idea.
No idea, Jared? I'll give you guys a hint. It came out on the PSP, if that helps.
Oh, I think I've heard of it, but I cannot put a name to it. Yeah, no, I can't.
No, this is Star Wars Lethal Alliance. So this came out back in 2006 for the PSP and only for the PSP. So probably not too many people have played this.
Yeah.
But yeah. All right. Our next one is, Kevin, this might seem familiar to you.
Yeah, I just played it the other day.
Jared, do you know what this is?
Yes, I do. I think it's called Star Wars Battlegrounds. Isn't it? I know it's an RTS for PC.
It is an RTS. This is pretty much Age of Empires, but Star Wars.
Yeah.
Kevin, do you know the full title of this?
Star Wars Galactic Battlegrounds.
Exactly.
Close, Jared.
Yep. Originally came out in PC in 2001 with an expansion coming out a year later that added clone campaign. So you can play as the Galactic Republic and Separatists. And this is indeed a very fun RTS. If you're a fan of Age of Empires, you're definitely going to love this game. All right. Moving on. Jared, I should say your dad answered Empire at War, which is close, but that comes a bit later. That one's still a fun game, I should attest. All right. Who can tell me what this is?
The original Star Wars arcade game.
Jared, do we agree?
I was about to say it's a Star Wars arcade game. I didn't know which one, but
This is the old school original Star Wars arcade from Atari. And you can play it either standing up, or some cabinets even had a sit down version where you can sit down and fly in the cockpit.
Yeah, back in the day, the Chuck E. Cheese down the street from me used to have the sit down one.
Oh yeah. And some versions even had an edition where what they did was they brought in a conversion kit and you would play Empire Strikes Back as opposed to A New Hope. But yes, this is indeed the old school 1983 Star Wars arcade. All right. Who could tell me what this is in all its graininess?
Dark Forces.
Yeah.
This is indeed Dark Forces, released in 1995 for PC, Macintosh, and the original PlayStation. This is one of the, I believe this is the first Star Wars first-person shooter. So anyone familiar with Doom and Wolfenstein, if you're into those, this one is right up your alley. And oh, by the way, it's got 3 amazing sequels that you need to check out. All right.
Yeah.
Let's see how many. All right, let's head on to the next one.
Star Wars Galaxies.
I concur.
Indeed, it is Star Wars Galaxies. This was the first Star Wars RTS, came out in 2003, and has been going live up until the end of December of 2011. It has since been shut down, although if you're persistent enough, there are some private servers that are able to play various versions of the game. So whether you're into the original launch period of Star Wars Galaxies, or if you're into when they did the new game enhancements, I'm sure you can find a couple of servers. All right. So, wow, you guys have been doing pretty good. How many is that? 9 so far?
I think so.
All right. So this next one, I think it's going to be kind of difficult. This one is really obscure, so don't be ashamed if, none of you guys get it. I had to look it up myself and see what exactly is this game. And for all you viewers at home, don't be ashamed if you don't know this one as well. All right. We ready? You tell me what this is. I know it's very obscure. Don't be ashamed if you don't get it.
They're very obscure. I don't think I know this one. I don't know.
Audience members? Should we see how much longer I can keep a straight face before cracking up? Sorry, I had to preface that with something a bit fun. But yes, if we don't know, this is the one and only Lego Star Wars, released in 2005 for PS2, Xbox, GameCube, Game Boy Advance, PC. And I think that's it, unless if I'm missing any other consoles. Chat, let us know. All right. Well done, everyone. You have done very well and exceeded my expectations. This is why we have you guys here for this panel, for you are the gaming experts. But it also helps to gauge us as to what kind of Star Wars games each of you guys play, because I think each of us, we all have our unique histories with the games in general, and the kind we prefer. Kevin, you seem to be a big Star Wars RTS person. Aside from Galactic Battlegrounds, are there any others? What are the other Star Wars RTSs that people should know about or that you particularly enjoy?
My favorite that I can't get to work anymore on my computer is the old Star Wars Force Commander. It's a
Okay.
lot of fun.
Now, is that the one that plays like Civilization, or am I thinking of a different one?
I think that's something different. This one, it's all you can build up your base on the map like usual, but stuff gets called in, and of course you start off as the Empire, but then you go traitor and you join the Alliance. But so you select what building you want to bring down, either like a turret or the main base building, and it'll be brought in from the ship.
Mm-hmm.
And you keep your units from mission to mission, and they rank up and get experience and do a little better. And
Okay.
it was a lot of fun.
Yeah, absolutely. Now you said you were having issues with that game. Is it something that you
It's
can?
an older game, so
Okay, I was about to say like Steam or Galaxy Games wouldn't have it, would they?
No, they don't have it yet.
No, no worries. Jared, how about yourself? What are the big Star Wars games that you're really into?
I'd probably say honestly one of the first biggest experiences that I vividly remember of playing would be Star Wars Jedi Knight Jedi Academy.
That's a good one. That one's also part of the Dark Forces series.
hmm I played that one before I played any of the other Dark Forces games or the Jedi Knight games or anything like that. That was my introduction to that series, and it's on my original Xbox. I had so much fun playing through that.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, I remember as a kid, there was this one demo disc that I would play through, and it had a demo of Dark Forces 2 Jedi Knight. And I remember playing through the one mission that they had on there constantly. And it was really cool because it gave you all the weapons and the lightsaber, and you would just go through. My favorite part was just sniping all the stormtroopers and make no one of my favorite thing that I like doing was there's certain parts of the level where there's like explosive barrels and there's just bad guys just standing there, and you just stand from a ledge and just shoot at the barrel and just watch it explode.
Yeah.
Yeah, excellent. Yeah, no, yeah. So we each all have our favorite Star Wars games, but of course, like with I think with all of us here, like we were able to get a lot more out of the games than simply gameplay. In some ways, I think it's inspired us in how we create our costumes as members of the 501st. And I wanted to hear from you guys if the games have, gave you inspiration for costume building, and if so, which ones? Don't don't worry. Don't worry. There's no rush on here, guys.
Yeah, I would feel like a lot of like various different games like Battlefront 2 and both the new one and the old one have given a lot of inspiration because of all the various outfits and factions and whatnot and troopers there are. That would be really cool to just go around and find and want to be like make all the armor for those characters that you used to play as in a video game, and now just walk around as a troop in either a stormtrooper, or if you go to the rebel side and join the bad guys, be a rebel or the clones.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Yeah, Battlefront 2, especially the new one, like with all the different costumes they had, like I've even had friends, who've taken inspiration, they'll look at the models of like the various, clones or Imperial troopers and sort of the different variants that they have. And they like to take inspiration in, making those or saving those up for later projects. Kevin, how about yourself? Do you think the games in general have given you inspiration regarding costume creation?
No, I mean, like initially, like back when I first started talking to guys in the Legion, I wanted to do a Republic Commando. Then talking to some of them at Celebration years ago, it's like what you need to do to put it together. It's like, yeah, it's a little above me at the moment. So
Yeah, no, I hear you. No, one of my Garrison mates here, his name is George. He has all the Delta Squad costumes. So whenever I see him at events, he'll usually have one of whichever Delta Squad member. He's particularly fond of Fixer, but obviously he has all the other ones if need be. So if someone else comes in as like Fixer or Sev, he'll come in as Boss or Scorch, whomever. Excellent. Well, yeah. So obviously, the games, they inspire us, as members when it comes to costume creation, and whether they're the old school games, from back in the 90s or the 80s, up until today, you can still find, something, that catches your eye and be like, you know what? I want to do that. I want to make something like that. I think especially true with the newer games, like with Fallen Order, for example. I've seen a lot of people, making costumes, like with Second Sister. That's a really popular one. But yeah. So yeah. So obviously still on the topic of games. Let's see if we can go back to what your first early memories of Star Wars games were. Kevin, we'll start with you. You probably have, not that I'm trying to show your age or anything, but you've probably had experience with some of the more older games from the beginning. What was your first introduction to the games?
As I said, there was the original Nintendo Star Wars games that I loathe.
Are we talking Super Star Wars?
No, not super. The Super games I love. It was talking about the original Nintendo ones.
Oh, I know the ones you're talking about.
But also, my dad still had his old Atari 2600. So I had the lightsaber one with the knob joysticks. I think that was the first one I ever remember playing with him.
Okay.
And then pretty much everything since then. So.
Everything since then. Jared, how about yourself? What was your first introduction into the world of Star Wars gaming?
It's hard to remember what came first. I already mentioned Jedi Academy, but there were three major standouts that I always remember from a kid. There is the original Star Wars Battlefront from 2003 with its wonky vehicle physics and all the crazy stuff. Rebel Assault, I think it was a really cool one on my PlayStation, where you flew through different ships and you went through different areas. And then the last one that I vividly remember was Star Wars Starfighter, where you played in the Naboo N1 starfighters flying around.
Okay. Yep. No, I am familiar with those. I played the second Starfighter game, the Jedi Starfighter. I remember as a kid, whenever I go to Walmart, whenever they had the video game kiosks, one of them had Star Wars Jedi Starfighter. That I remember that was a lot of fun. But yeah, like in terms of like my first like memories, I'd have to go back to Christmas of 2000. That's when I got my Nintendo 64. And I got the one main game was Banjo-Tooie, and then there was a bunch of other games that were secondhand, so they were out of their box and scattered all over. And one of them was Star Wars Rogue Squadron for the original N64. And I remember playing it and having a complete blast with it. And what was so cool was, I guess the previous owner had pretty much everything unlocked. So you could play as the Naboo starfighter from the beginning. You could play as the Falcon. And then when I found out, like, oh, you could put in cheat codes in there, you can unlock more stuff in there, which I thought was really cool. But yeah, no, I think that was probably my proper introduction to Star Wars games in general. And then later on, I got more into some of the PC games, and then PlayStation 2, and so on and so forth. But yeah, no, excellent. So with all the Star Wars games out there, is there a particular favorite you guys have at the moment? Or it can also be a series of favorites, like it can be, a certain game series in general. Like I know for some of us, it's hard to choose just one. Jared, what would you say your favorite is at the moment?
Oh, that is very difficult. I probably the most recently, because I finally beat it for the first time last summer or whatnot, it would be Star Wars Knights of the Old Republic and Knights of the Old Republic 2. It took me like 10, not really 10 years, like 7 years or whatnot to finally be able to beat them. I just finally sat down last summer and focused and was able to play them through and live out their incredible stories.
Very cool. Kevin, how about yourself? Is there a game that you constantly keep going back to, or a series that you always, go back to that's your comfort game?
KOTOR I go back to every so often, but TIE Fighter still my favorite. Especially now, apparently there's a guy who's got a mod out for X-Wing Alliance that turns it into the old TIE Fighter game. But it's got the original version, and then he's done this, what he calls the reimagined version. So it's slight differences to each mission. Like he took one of the, there's like one of the campaigns, there's 3 missions where you're going after someone, but he shortened it all into one big mission.
Oh, wow.
He's still working on it. So it's like all super updated graphics, and it's spectacular. And there was just an update for it last week. So
Okay. Yeah. I wonder if there's mods. You don't by chance know if there's like mods where you can use, because I know like Star Wars Squadrons, there's VR support for that. I wonder if they have the same for like the older like X-Wing or TIE Fighter games.
I think there's a couple mods out for like X-Wing Alliance, and for the TIE Fighter Total Conversion, I think there's VR support for it too.
Oh, wow. Yeah. So if you guys are, so for any viewers who are into VR, you have some more options aside from Squadrons and the Oculus Rift games, which I actually just played a couple of those not too long ago. My brother got an Oculus. He got an Oculus Quest 2 for his birthday not too long ago. And one of the first things, he didn't buy it, I did. I bought all of Vader Immortal on the thing. And I was playing through it, and I was really impressed. I mean, I was starting to feel sick, about 30 minutes in, but yeah, if you guys ever get a chance to play the VR Star Wars games on Oculus or wherever, definitely give those a shot.
I was gonna say, funny you should say that. I have my Oculus Rift S over here, and I've actually, Vader Immortal is incredible game.
Have you played any of the other VR Star Wars games that are on there?
They are actually not on the Rift S. They're only on the Quest 2, the Tales from the Galaxy's Edge. I
Those
wanted to
ones.
play them, but they discontinued support for that. But I have another recommendation that while the game itself isn't a Star Wars game, there's a mod for it that you can download, and it turns it into an entire, just one of the greatest Star Wars experiences I've ever had. And it's called Blade and Sorcery.
Okay.
They just released a standalone version on the Quest, but if you have a decent gaming computer, you can get it on Steam, and you can link your Quest to play your Steam games through it, and download that mod. It is just an amazing, incredible experience from all the different lightsabers you can use, from like you can use even the Inquisitor's double blade lightsabers, where it spins around and it has the whole activated thing, clone blasters, Rebel blasters, all sorts of stuff. And it's just an incredible Star Wars experience.
Wow, that's great to hear. Wow, very cool. All right, so we were at the half-hour mark. Just as a reminder to all the viewers out there, we are still raising funds for the Make-A-Wish Foundation. With it being the holiday season, we'd love for you to look inside, open up your heart, and give to these wonderful people. They have done amazing things year in, year out, and we love supporting them. So if you're feeling generous, we've got the QR code underneath. You can also head to the InfernoCon website and follow instructions there. But aside from that, I've been asking most of the questions, but looks like we've got a couple of questions on my little data pad that have been coming in. One of the questions is regarding Star Wars Squadrons. And they made the comment, and I don't know if you guys feel the same, but it feels like right now it seems like Star Wars Squadrons has kind of died out. And I wanted to get your guys' opinion as to what you guys think. Do you think it has some validity to it, or do you think like, no, there's still a vibrant Squadrons community?
I'll be honest, I haven't actually played since like February. So
fair enough. Jared, how about you? are you still into Squadrons, or has that kind of
I
fall?
personally am still into it. I still really love the game. It's one of my favorite Star Wars. Hard to put a favorite, but it's one of my big favorite of mine. But I have seen a lot of stuff in with the community. It's kind of died down. There were, I think, a couple of video game tournaments in Squadrons last year, and I think earlier this year. But other than that, there hasn't been a whole lot of support for it, unfortunately.
Okay. Yeah, I'll be honest. I haven't really played it about about maybe a year or so. I still think the game is fun, but I think a lot of it for me has to deal with, other life stuff, other video games that have been coming out. So it's kind of hard to dedicate, a whole lot of time. I will say though, I do like the match lengths of Squadrons as opposed to something like Battlefront 2, because Battlefront 2, like it's fun, but some of those matches go on way too long, like half an hour, to the point it's just like I can't do this anymore. Like, make it stop. But with Squadrons, I think it finds a nice balance between, fun gameplay, the right amount of length so that you're able to do a couple quick matches if you're short on time, um,
Mhm.
and experiment with the various ships. But yeah, no, I think they've only done like one major update where they added a couple of new ships. Um, but I think that's it. Um, but yeah, but while we're still on the same topic, I got another question. So, so when did so when we entered this new era of Star Wars gaming, under the Disney license, there was a period where the video game rights went exclusively to EA. But now we're in a period where we're seeing, other companies take a stab, at making their own Star Wars games. I want to hear from you guys, how do you feel about, EA losing its exclusivity rights, and, what kind of potential you see for other companies, making these games?
I personally feel like it is the best decision that they have made regarding Star Wars games in a while. Allowing multiple outsourcing it to multiple different companies will allow a ton of different Star Wars games to be made. We're already getting an open world game by Ubisoft. Uh, uh, I forgot the name, but we're getting a Knights of the Old Republic remake now that's been announced. We're getting Star Wars Eclipse made by Quantic Dream, which was something nobody ever thought would happen because they've been building games like Detroit Become Human and Heavy Rain, which are a lot like visual, like interactive stories. So I'm excited to see what they can do. And I just feel like it's a lot great because we have all these different companies that can spend their own time, not just having to have one company that's having to force whatever other sub game developers they have under them, as well as make other games that they are wanting to make, like EA's with their Battlefield and everything else. So we have all these other game companies now that are free to make whatever they want. I think we're gonna see a giant boom in Star Wars games because already EA had the license for almost 10 years and we got 4 games from them. And just now after the license being unreleased, we're already having 3 to 4 new games being announced.
Yeah. No, you're right. Now that I'm thinking about it, yeah, EA did just have those 4. Unless if there was any others. Kevin, am I missing any?
I don't think so.
No. Well, so what do you think? How do you think the future of Star Wars gaming looks now that EA has lost exclusivity rights?
A lot brighter.
A lot brighter.
Everything that Jared just said, I wholeheartedly agree with it. Like, we've already got 3-4 games announced for just the like coming couple years, and like we said, EA, the 10 years that they had the license, they barely put out anything.
Yeah, and even then, some of the stuff they did put out wasn't always met favorably. Like I still remember when Battlefront 2 came out. That was that was a debacle in its own right. It's gotten better since then, I will say. So if you guys are still, if any viewers are still on the fence about Battlefront 2, like it's worth checking out now, I would say, especially if you can get it at a discount. I'm pretty sure you can find some copies out there for cheap. I wouldn't necessarily, but that was the one game, where it's just like, yeah, I'm gonna stop pre-ordering Star Wars games. Like when Jedi Fallen Order was announced, it's like, nope, not gonna do it, can't do it. And then it comes out and you hear it's like one of the best Star Wars games. Just like, damn it, all right, I'll get it. And yeah, no, Fallen Order is probably the best one EA has released, I gotta say.
I can really concur with that. Respawn Entertainment really knocked it out of the park with Jedi Fallen Order, and I'm excited to see what they do with the sequel.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Yeah, but yeah, no, I think with more companies being able to, able to dip their toes into the Star Wars license, there's a lot more possibilities as to, what can be done, what can we see. And yeah, like the Knights of the Old Republic remake, I am 100% down for. Like I saw the trailers, just like, he's home. The prodigal son has returned. Oh, it's beautiful. I'm still waiting for, and I swear if they delay it again, the Lego Star Wars Skywalker Saga. I swear that game keeps getting delayed over and over again. And the funny thing is, do you guys have any of you guys done the Lego Star Wars Advent calendars? No?
No, I haven't.
Okay, so last year I did the Lego Star Wars Advent calendar, and one of the figures was Darth Vader in an ugly Christmas sweater. So that was cool in its own. But what was also really cool was it had a code that you could put in for the Lego Star Wars Skywalker Saga video game. You put that code in, you could play as ugly sweater Darth Vader. But with it being delayed, I'm concerned that by the time it does release, is my code still going to be good?
Yeah, I can understand that fear. I think I have some faith in it when it comes out. From some of the trailers that we've seen, stuff, it looks like it's going to be a great game when it finally releases.
And I agree. Yeah, no, Lego Star Wars video games, they're always good fun. Whether it's the original from 05, up till today, it's always fun, especially if you got, family members, kids around, it's always fun. Especially if you're into spoiling the movie. So when I got the original Lego Star Wars, when it first came out, this came out before episode 3 was released in theaters. So if you played through the entire game, you'd have the movie spoiled for you. Which I thought was fun, but also like, should we be seeing the stuff before the movie?
I remember they did the same thing with the Star Wars Episode 3 game.
Yeah.
For the original Xbox and PlayStation, that the little fighter game, they did the same thing. They had actually movie clips in the game.
Oh my goodness. But yeah, absolutely. But with EA exclusivity, disappearing, are there any upcoming projects that you guys are personally excited for?
You go first, Kevin.
I haven't really been paying much. I've been too busy with work. I haven't really been able to look at all the new stuff coming out yet, except Lego Star Wars the last year and a half.
No, that's a solid entry to be excited for. I already have that. So remember when I said that I wouldn't pre-order Star Wars games anymore? That was kind of a lie. I do have that game on pre-order from Best Buy. So
Okay,
So,
I would say you've already mentioned the Knights of the Old Republic remake, which I think if every Star Wars fan is very excited for. I say I'm extremely excited for Star Wars Eclipse. I just want to know what it is. The trailer we got to see was so weird and cryptic, but super cool. And it's set during the High Republic era, which is an era we have only had in books. We haven't seen it in any other media. And the books, my gosh, they've been great.
yeah,
They've really been good.
yeah, I love the books too. I've only read two of them. I've read Light of the Jedi and Into the Dark, but those were both really good. I think the one game I'm kind of curious about is the Star Wars Hunters game. Do you guys know about that?
Yes.
So it's going to be a free to play game, but it looks like pretty much a Star Wars version of Overwatch,
Mhm.
which looks fun, but you also have to keep in mind free to play. So you got to be prepared for the caveats that come with it.
Mhm.
But I'm kind of curious about that. I know it's coming out for mobile devices, but also Nintendo Switch. So if you guys got that, you have that option of checking that out. Looks like we got a question from Twitch. Someone was asking if there was a life day code in one of the Lego games, and I'm trying to think if there was. I don't recall a life day code, and if there was, it probably have to be from like from the older Lego Star Wars games. Jared, are you doing a fact check on that?
Yes, I am.
Okay.
Just
So-
double checking. I there's it might have been a cheat code for Lego Star Wars 3.
Was that the
That was the Clone Wars one.
okay?
That covered the first season of the Clone Wars.
Okay, I never played that one. I only played Lego Star Wars 1 and 2.
That one was really fun. It actually had a bit of RTS elements in it with these giant battles that you would build, and you had your own bases, and some of the missions you would build up the bases and you'd command like an entire legion of clones or tanks and whatnot to do various different objectives. It was a really cool.
Okay. Okay. Very cool. Yeah, like I said, I am not familiar with the life day code. But then again, I wasn't really one to I don't think I'm trying to no, I didn't really mess around too much with cheat codes. I messed around with a few of them, but I don't remember a life day code for any of the first two Lego Star Wars games.
Yeah, I don't really either.
Yeah. Which does remind me, I do hope they do put in a cheat code option for the Skywalker saga. I think that'd be kind of cool.
Oh, okay. In the chat, he says the advent calendar thing that you got was for the life day code was for the advent calendar that you had.
Okay, so
Yeah, I found something that says it's for the snow dunk on the advent calendar.
okay. Yeah, I don't know if I got that code with my advent calendar. I got the one for Ugly Sweater Darth Vader, and there was I do remember getting the Snow Gunk figurine in one of my advent calendars. I will probably have to look that up. Hopefully it's just the one code you can use for all the games and not, set specific. Well, very cool. Glad we were able to clear that up. Thank you guys for your research skills and clearing that up. All right. So we got about 15 minutes left, so we still have some time for a couple more questions. Here's a good one. This is probably an obvious question we should probably ask. So we've all talked our favorite Star Wars games. What's probably the worst Star Wars game you've played? Thinking hard on it. Yeah, because it is interesting because there's a lot of good Star Wars games, but there's also not so good ones.
Yeah. Oof.
Did you ever play Star Wars Connect?
I did not. I always wanted to, but I never had it.
God, bad. So many glitches,
Uh,
so many problems.
that game just looks so bizarre. Yeah, although I will say, I think it's one of those games that everyone should experience at least once just to get an idea of the awkwardness of it all. Plus it's got a dancing mini game in it. Let's see, what's some other good? You ever play Masters of Terrascasi?
We'll have a copy somewhere.
Jared, are you familiar with that one?
I know of it. I never got to play it.
Okay.
But
Star Wars Tekken, pretty much.
Yep. That's pretty much what it is, Star Wars Tekken. And yeah, like a lot of early PlayStation fighters, it's very awkward to control. And only as fun as you're probably going to make it. I only played it once when I was little, and I remember thinking it was okay, but I wasn't really blown away by it. But that's always a game that pops as people saying like it's probably not that good. Trying to think of some other ones. You ever play Yoda Stories?
I was just looking that up. I actually had fun with Yoda Stories.
I mean, it's a good time waster, but it's not something like you would call, like one of the great games.
Yeah.
But I guess it was popular enough to get a Game Boy release. Because I remember seeing ads for that. Just like, what is this game? And looking up, it's just like, okay, why would it? It's like, yeah, maybe this should have just stayed as a computer game. And not really like a PC game, but it's it's the same amount of fun as like Solitaire or any of the other Windows free games.
I'm trying to think. There haven't really been too many Star Wars games out there that I've played that I've just outright said, I don't like this.
Hmm.
And a lot of it, some of the games where I have said I'm not a big fan of this is mostly because I partially think they're a bit too old for me to try and play through, and they're just really confusing and don't really control well compared to a lot of the modern games. Like I tried playing Dark Forces a couple weeks ago, and I'm struggling with that. I'm like the third mission or what, I'm not being able to figure out where to go because everything looks the same, and parts of the area are way too dark, and I can't figure out what button turns on a flashlight or whatnot. And there's no like.
That was the sewer
keyboard.
mission, right?
Yeah, the sewer mission.
I
I've been
always skip that one.
I've been stuck on that one forever, and I haven't been able to get past it.
I think my big problem with Dark Forces was the control scheme. Like if you try to play Dark Forces on like modern PCs, I think the version like I tried playing. I'm trying to think, I think I tried playing it through DOSBox, and if you're not familiar with DOSBox, the games that you can play on those, they're designed in a way where it thinks that you're playing on an old school PC or Macintosh using DOS. And because of that, trying to remap, controls is near next to impossible if you're not familiar. Now, thankfully, a lot of these games you can play on other systems as well. So those are a bit more manageable. Like Dark Forces, you can also play on PlayStation. Yep. If you still have that system lying around. Mm-hmm. But yeah. Now, Kevin, earlier you were saying that the Star Wars NES games always gave you headaches. Are those games, do you consider like are bad, or it's just like they're just frustrating?
I'd say more frustrating because, like I said, before, like last year when we were talking about this. It's trying to jump over a pit of spikes, and it's if you're off by 1 pixel getting to the other side, you're gonna fall in and die, and it's just so frustrating.
Limited run games, they did a re-release on some of the old Star Wars games. And what's really cool is that it's not like download codes, like they actually make actual cartridges. And I got the Game Boy version of Star Wars. And I understand the frustration, because if you think playing it on the original Nintendo was hard, try playing it on an old school Game Boy.
I did both.
You did both?
I mean, they're pretty much the exact same game. It's just, one's for the Game Boy, one's for the console.
Yeah. No, absolutely. I was able to beat the game, but I had to look up, like walkthroughs to see, what I'm supposed to do. Like, so the one mission where you're flying out of the Falcon and you have to avoid asteroids or TIE fighters, whatever. Like, first time I played that, I was killed like a minute in. And then I looked it up and figured out, if you just keep your cursor down at the bottom right corner, you won't get hit. And you just have to survive. But yeah, like on the topic of limited run games, like if you go on their website, they have some pretty cool things on there. Like they have more than Star Wars games, obviously, but it's pretty cool how they're able to take a lot of these old games and make cartridges for them that you can play on the original systems. It's all, but of course, as the name implies, they're limited runs. So if you don't act on them quick, you're going to miss out. And they don't really do reprints. But yeah, I'm always, it's good to hear your guys' perspectives on games that you don't really like or could find kind of frustrating. Trying to think if there's any other ones. What was that one? Oh, Star Wars Demolition. That's the one I'm thinking of.
Yeah, that one's on my list too.
Jared, are you familiar with that?
The name sounds familiar, but I don't think I know what it is.
So it's Star Wars Twisted Metal. So it's pretty much like a manner of Star Wars vehicles. Even
Demolition Derby type.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. Even Boba Fett, for some strange reason. He doesn't have a vehicle, he just has his jetpack. Which
he is a vehicle.
Which I didn't know that we could really count as a vehicle. Yeah, I've only seen gameplay footage of it, and it looks fine, but probably not something I'd be rushing towards. Well, very cool. All right, I'm just trying to check the time right here. So if it's 8:53 my time, that should be 10:53 your time. So we are getting close to getting towards the end. But before we leave, first of all, I want to thank you guys for coming in, doing this again this year. It was a lot of fun to have you guys last year. Definitely a lot of fun to have you again this year, to join in the festivities. But before we leave, were there any final thoughts or comments that you guys had before we move on to the next panel? Jared's pondering.
Yeah, pondering. No, I don't really think so now.
Excellent. Well, folks, it was a real honor to have you guys here, and to all you viewers at home, we are very thankful that you were able to join us for this wonderful panel. Coming up next is the Hung by the Stockings with Care. So this is the Star Wars Memories panel, where people are going to be talking about their favorite Star Wars memories around the holidays. We got a lot of cool guests coming up for that, including our honorary member from last year, if you guys remember, Dominic Pace. So he's going to be on that and going to be chatting with us again. And I'm going to be hosting that again, which reminds me, I should probably think about switching on over for that panel. But again, thank you guys again for donating your time for this great panel and talking Star Wars games. And hope to chat with you guys again soon.
Thanks for having us.
You guys.
A special night in City Place for one West Palm Beach 7-year-old. We've been talking about this story all night.
I know, yeah.
He was diagnosed with cancer a few years ago and locked in the fight for his life.
This is such a cool story. Now, tonight, the Make-A-Wish Foundation granted him an opportunity every kid, and I've said before, adult dreams of. That's becoming a Jedi. Our Jason Hackett shows us how the community rallied around this very special boy.
A long time ago, in a galaxy far away,
Thank God you're here.
or more specifically West Palm Beach, a hero was born.
Here, you get to ride up closer to the front.
One who would vanquish the forces of evil and save our galaxy. That role of hero is one Brady has been training for all his life. He was diagnosed with a rare form of leukemia 2 years ago, but with treatment and transplant over the last few years, he's been able to fight it off. Indeed, the force is strong with this one.
I got a special plan.
Let's go, Brady.
With cancer nearly vanquished, it's on to his next fight, the Galactic Empire. First, training.
Right, left, now, top. Good.
With Brady mastering the ways of the Force with light speed.
I concede Jedi Knight of the Republic. May the Force be with you.
It was the skill that he needed with the challenge that lay ahead. A showdown at City Place.
We need to get moving. Ray's waiting for us.
And with the whole community watching, Brady came face to face with Darth Vader himself.
Use the Force. Believe in it, Brady. Believe in it, Brady. You don't need this anymore, Vader. You've lost, Vader.
Neither cancer nor Vader were a match for the new Jedi. All these people watching didn't feel nervous.
No,
With the Empire defeated, he's on to spread the wealth.
I'm going to train people to be a Jedi for free.
The heart that this 7-year-old has shown, however, no matter the battle, is something you just can't teach.
He's victorious in pretty much every way possible. So as a parent, there's nothing more that you can be proud of.
In West Palm Beach, Jason Hackett,
I feel super strong.
WPTV News Channel 5.
Brady's sister, Charlie, also has the same blood disorder as her brother. Now, her Make-A-Wish will take place later this year as she meets the princesses at Disney World.
Love that story. Just love that story. The kids have such a tough reality, so it's nice for them to get this wonderful fantasy.
And I get
if
away
you will.
for it for just a little bit.
So
It looked like so much fun.
It did look like so much. Congratulations to the Make-A-Wish folks. We were just talking just before we came on about how involved that was to make
Yes.
something like that happen. All the people
And
involved.
they worked out all the details. They did such a
They
great
certainly
job.
did. Tip of the cap. And way to go, Brady. Way to beat Vader tonight.
Halo, TI 19715 Garuda Garrison Indonesia mengucapkan selamat berlibur untuk semua trooper Garrison Tyrannus. Happy holiday!
This is ID 36849.
And ID 78808 of Inferno Squad, Garrison Tyrannus.
Happy
Happy holidays from Mustafar.
Virginia.
From TI 37922, Garuda Garrison, Indonesia, wishing you all happy holidays and may the force be with you.
Hi, and happy holidays. I'm IS 10258 from Winchester, Virginia. My squad mates just got me a wonderful book, How Not to Get Eaten by Ewoks. Happy holidays.